Welcome back to World Crisis Radio. Let's go right to this question of Social Security. In other words, how sinister is Obama? We've seen him so far attempting to destroy the best fruits of the Lyndon B. Johnson Great Society, and that is to say Medicare, the federal program which has saved more lives and increased the longevity of senior citizens more than anything else that has ever been done in U.S. history. It used to be that old age was a time of fear, sickness, and early death, much earlier than it needed to be. Obama's taken care of that by looting Social Security, $500 billion. And you look in the specialized press of the healthcare industry, they're all assuming that payments to doctors and hospitals are going down, 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 and that means triage. That means seniors who won't get the care they need to live because Orsag and Liebman in the Office of Management and Budget are attempting to prevent them from getting these medical tests. And we'll have something more to say about Liebman. Remember, the OMB this week, they're demanding rescission authority, this unilateral or more or less executive-centered idea of cutting provisions out of bills. This is Peter Orsag, the austerity ghoul and austerity fanatic who doesn't want you to have medical tests. And then his deputy, Jeffrey Liebman, hey, don't look now, in a leaflet for the Potomac primary in February of 2008, almost 2.5 years ago. You can see this in Obama, the Postmodern Coup. I put out a leaflet saying, Obama wants to destroy Social Security. Obama wants to take your pension away. Don't listen to the utopian, messianic, highfalutin phrases spouting out of Obama's yap, but look at the austerity-minded budget hawk, austerity ghoul, austerity vampire advisors. Jeffrey Liebman, in point of fact. Jeffrey Liebman, now the number 2 to Orsag at the Office of Management and Budget, who is somebody who wants to privatize Social Security. All right, so the proposal is this. A very interesting article. You got to look at it. It's called, Has Obama Created a Social Security Death Panel? Dated May 21st, 2010. Nancy Altman and Eric Kingson, and they write on the Nieman Watchdog, Nieman. The Nieman Watchdog questions the press should ask. Here's one to ask, dear White House press corps. We've got the National Commission on Fiscal Responsibility and Reform, and this is a group of 18 super rich elitists, imperialist bureaucrats, what have we, members of the permanent governing elite, and really of the invisible government on the financial side, and they're all there. And this is the commission led by Erskine Bowles, left over from the Clinton regime, and we'll get to him in a minute because he's got a track record of trying to destroy Social Security. He's a right-wing Southern Democrat, if he's a Democrat at all, and Al Simpson, reactionary Republican senator from Wyoming some years back. So the idea is this austerity commission, remember Obama originally wanted this to have binding findings. In other words, they wanted it to be binding on Congress, that they would have to take a vote on what this commission of ghouls and vampires recommended, and they'd have to either take it or leave it, so to make it like the base closing and realignment commission and other abdications, unconstitutional abdications of congressional authority. So this is now the Erskine Bowles, Al Simpson Commission, and they're meeting. They're operating behind the scenes. There are 18 of them. They're secretive. They're behind closed doors. They're not going to say anything until after the November election. Some obvious people on there. You got Alice Rivlin, one of the worst austerity ghouls, austerity vampires left over from the Clinton years. Essentially, the group is made up of puppets of Peter Peterson and the Peterson Institute on Massachusetts Avenue in Washington, because this is the idea. The Peterson Foundation supplies the commission staff. The Peterson Foundation funds a series of town halls about the need for deadly austerity. There's an article, I think, by William Greider that goes into the proposals for looting Social Security coming out of this cabal, right? The cultural tentacles of this Peterson, who is he's a failed former boss of Salomon Brothers in the Gutfreund, or pre-Gutfreund era in the 1960s. So anyway, it's a bunch of Wall Street hyenas and jackals, except in particular the government bureaucrat side of this thing. And again, I stress Rivlin is typical. This is one of the people who helped to destroy the economy of the Clinton years. So the main point is we're going to be following this commission because we're on to them. They are going to deliver their report in late November, December of this year. And their hope is that with a Congress filled with lame duck Democrats in particular, but also Republicans, who have been bounced out, voted out in November, they're going to be looking for Wall Street jobs. And the idea is that this despicable commission is going to be ready with a plan to loot Social Security, to gouge more out of the hide of the American people, and to begin the final wrecking and destruction process of the Social Security system. And they're going to have that ready in December after the elections, and with the help of a bunch of discredited lame ducks of the type of Thomas Dodd of Connecticut and others, right? This guy Molahan of West Virginia, who's already out. He'll still be there in December. They're going to try to ram that through. And this shows you how sinister the whole Obama project is. Now, there's nothing new about this. I urge you to get my book, Surviving the Cataclysm, and in the material added for the expanded second edition of Surviving the Cataclysm, you will find the lowdown on this interview that Obama gave. He had a talk with the editorial board of the Washington Post where he talked about his readiness to use his political capital to reform, meaning loot and sack and despoil, not just Medicare, but Social Security. And he said Medicare is more dangerous. We've got to get the costs under control. We've got to bend the curve and all this. But then he went on to say we're also going to have to reform Social Security. And again, as soon as a Wall Street puppet like Obama says reform, with his obvious elitist and cruel tendencies, it means loot. So this is what's coming. This is what the great hope and change of Obama is going to bring you. We've seen the space program destroyed, Medicare looted, the destruction of Franklin D. Roosevelt's Social Security Act of 1935 by Obama is now immediately ahead. Back in a minute.